Welcome to my full review for Eagle Island, a roguelite 2D platformer with some Metroidvania style elements. Don't let its charmingly adorable exterior fool you. Eagle Island can be soul-crushingly difficult at times, but still immensely rewarding once you master its delicate combo system. Eagle Island takes some inspiration from standard Metroidvanias with its overworld map design, but the overall crux of this adventure, and where you'll be spending the majority of your time, is in its procedurally assembled dungeons that will test your feathered boomeranging abilities, platforming skills, patience, and resolve. This is where all of the roguelite elements really come to the forefront, with death resulting in absolute failure, requiring you to start completely over at the start of a dungeon with zero resources or improvements, with knowledge being the only advancement you really gain. You will need to learn enemy patterns and attacks in order to not just take them down, but to take them down in style. The combo system here is the core gameplay element to Eagle Island that really makes it stand out the most compared to other platformers. You will need to be on constant lookout for packs of enemies in close proximity because your primary way to earn back mana to utilize your bird's more powerful abilities is by achieving these combos during fights. More importantly, however, is achieving the quad combo or higher, which is your primary means for gaining back health. This makes every tick of damage you suffer feel like a gigantic setback, and will have you constantly on the lookout for enemies grouped together in order to survive from their quick demise. This requires a certain level of focus at all times, and to quote the narrator from Darkest Dungeon, death waits for the slightest lapse in concentration. Yes, the game can be quite punishing at times when you have to restart a completely new dungeon layout 50 to 100 enemies into a run, but all hope is not lost. There are 2 currencies to be gained that can unlock chests containing a variety of upgrades, as well as to use in shops where mana, health, and Rune Stones can be purchased. Rune Stones are temporary upgrades that break over time that can either modify your bird's abilities, enhance your navigation, or the ones that I definitely found the most useful, to increase your maximum health. These do help to add some nice variety to the combat system, but since the majority of these Rune Stones apply to your birds that require mana for each use, these will favor players that are already quite skilled at the game, as opposed to being all that helpful for struggling players. Essentially, your elemental birds and their expanded abilities gained from these Rune Stones will help you to perpetuate more mana more often from being able to take down groups of enemies easier, but if you find it hard to get the ball rolling on this precious resource in the first place, you might find yourself not utilizing much of this core feature. Still, if you are playing well, you will be rewarded with some cool runestone synergies that do allow for some absolutely devastating effects. The overworld, where the game devolves down into a light Metroidvania, might be the main shortcoming of Eagle Island, with only a small handful of new abilities gained to access different areas, and the map is quite barren overall, which functions mostly just as a vehicle to get you from dungeon to dungeon. I do appreciate the inclusion of these Metroidvania elements in between these brutal gauntlets, but I would have liked it to be a little more fleshed out with more to discover. Other than that, and a few run-ending sharp difficulty spikes from time to time, hard to find much else to fault here in Eagle Island because it pulls off nearly every element it sets out to achieve by mixing some Metroidvania elements into a solid roguelite platformer. In the end, Eagle Island's combo system and enjoyable boss fights make for a memorable, albeit somewhat repetitive, great overall journey. If you have what it takes to persevere through this challenging yet satisfying avian adventure, you will be rewarded with some truly impeccable moments of gameplay brilliance. If you enjoy the review style I do here at Boomstick Gaming, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you happen to be watching this before July 12th, 2019, I encourage you to follow me on Twitter at BoomstickAlex, because I have 2 copies of Eagle Island to give out to you guys, one for Switch and one for PC, and the winners will be decided right there on Twitter, so stay tuned. Hopefully I helped you make a more informed purchasing decision here today, and as always, this has been Alex from Boomstick Gaming, and thanks for watching.